So I'll start the recording on this session, and let me jump over to the Blackboard. So I'll share my screen, go to Blackboard. All right, hopefully everyone can see that. Let's go to, down here. Actually, it's in week 12. The assignments actually originated in week 12. So let's go back to week 12. All right, so the assignment is for you to download this file right here, which is the Excel workbook. This document right here, assignment 7 instructions, is the instructions on what to do. So essentially what I'm doing is showing you what the result of the chart needs to look like in here. You get the raw data in this data file, and it's your assignment to then make the chart that is identified in here. All right, so you got raw data in your, I'll just jump over to Excel real quick. Share out Excel. So you were initially given just the data, and you needed to do this. Okay, so that's essentially what your task was. And you were given the directions on which chart to use, and based on the lecture material and some of the examples that we had in week 11 and 12, the charting capabilities in literally the charts that we covered in week 11 and week 12 are these same charts. So you had a bar and column chart, you had a line chart, you had a pie chart. I don't think we covered a combo chart. So this one was probably one of the more challenging charts of the two to do. The key to this one, all right, is you are dealing with two data sets. All right, so we're dealing with the total spend data set, and we're dealing with the cost per click data set. All right, so how do we do that? Well, the easiest way to do that is to highlight the, click that, and let me click this. So the easiest way to do this is to highlight all of the data that we need on here. So we need the column total spend, and we need the column for total clicks, but we need it for the entire year, January through December. So the easiest way to do that is to highlight all of the month, use the control key or the control key on a Windows PC, or the command key on a Mac, hold that down, and then highlight the total spend column. Same thing with the total click column. So we're going to hold the control key down on a Windows PC, we're going to hold the command key down on a Mac, and we're going to use a mouse and highlight all of this data. All right, so those are the three columns. Easiest way to do it. I mean, you can start off with a blank chart and then add to it piece by piece, but this is quickest and easiest way to do it. Then the easiest way to do it is to come over here and click on Insert. You can use recommended charts, but Excel for this kind of chart is going to try to get it bar charted for you. So if you notice here, it did a total spend column and dollars per click column. Now, that might be okay in a regular data set, and the key here is because these values are so different in magnitude, that chart really doesn't do you much good. All right, and that this particular part of the assignment was deliberately done that way. So if these numbers were fairly close, yeah, you probably could get away with a bar chart where you see that the total spend is higher than this other category. However, for this one, I wanted you to do a bar chart for the total spend and then a line chart for the total, or the dollars per click. And notice the column axes are different for both. This way you get a chance to see the data even though they're different magnitudes. So the way to get at that chart is to click all charts and choose combo. And then when Excel comes up with the combo, it says, all right, well, one of them is going to be bar and one of them is going to be line, because that's what a combo chart is. The key to making this look like that is to come over to the dollars per click and say, you know what? I want this, since it's a small number versus the total spend, I want that on a separate axis. So now what it does is it puts the axis on the right side. So now we get a good feel for the dollars versus the clicks. Now, I'm not so concerned that you format the chart like this. You're not going to get points taken off if it isn't green, because this one's kind of, and I wanted to show you this because it's a pretty sophisticated design. This is green, yeah, and it also has an outline on it, so that's why it looks the way it does. The only thing that I really wanted you to do here was to choose the line, and I'm going to minimize that, choose the line, and then format that line. So we want to format that data series. So I just highlighted the line, did a right click, I get this menu here. I'm going to come over here and click Format Data Series. And then I'm going to choose this first option, which is the fill in line option. And I'm going to come down to the bottom and I'm going to choose smooth line. So essentially what that does is it smooths out the edges of where those data points change and connect. All right, so I'll run through that one more time. So the line initially was jagged because it was not smoothed out. So I'm going to right click on the line, or I'm going to click on the line. I'm going to right click, choose Format Data Series. And if you notice here, there's really nothing you can choose here. All right, you can choose shadowing, glowing, soft edges, 3D format. We don't need to do any of that stuff. What we want to do is we want to smooth out that line. So that's this right here. And you can see how the line changes from abrupt to smooth. All right, so that's as simple as it is. It really is that, and you put a chart title on it, and you're pretty much done with it. You can, if you want, go in and do these colors. It's totally up to you. I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna. We can make an outline color of. So if I again right click on the data, so I want to right click on actually all of this data. All of the data series, there we go. Right click on that, I can I can change the outline to, I believe it might be that color. And then I can choose the fill to be that color right there. So now we're a little closer to what it was. We can turn the line into, so we can go over here now and go Format Data Series, and then we can turn the line into, I believe it's that color right there. So you can do it if you want. I'm not really going to be concerned. Just get this title to be a bar chart and then a line chart. All right. So again, it's about visualizing our data. It's about being able to take our data and make some sense out of it and draw a picture of it. Any questions on that?
I don't have questions on this specific assignment. More or less, I just wanted to mention that I've been using some of the functions specifically for cleaning up data in my real life job, and I just want to know if there is there like a cheat sheet for the functions that we've learned so far, or should we just, is that something that we should probably just be creating on our own?
You know, we've done only a very few number of functions. I was going to say, if you Google cheat sheet functions Excel on Google, you're going to get them all.
Yeah, sure.
Which is way more than we did. The ones probably function-wise that are the most important, like VLOOKUP, trim, left, right, and or concatenate. Did we do concatenate? I don't think we did concatenate. The substitute function. Those are probably the ones that we did in the assignments are the most important, because I'm not going to really ask you anything outside of that. Maybe some average. That'd be about it. I'm not gonna. There's just so many great functions out there to clean data up, but just the ones that we used.
Sure. Thank you.
Make sense? All right. Yeah.
Yep.
Excel's a great tool. Whether you're in analytics or not, whether you're a major or minor in this field or whatever you do, you're going to use Excel. If you're in any kind of job anywhere, so many students have said, yeah, I had to use Excel when I was doing an internship, this, that, and the other thing. And so many have said that. And all they did was enter numbers. They didn't realize there's so much more to it than that. There is. Accountants, financial professionals all just use this so entirely. Even though there are a lot of great tools in the web, and most of the big investment companies and analytics companies have these tools, everyone still uses Excel. It's just a powerful tool. So we've only kind of gotten introduced to it. We didn't get into, this wasn't an Excel course. It was about picking some of those real important data literacy and data visualization kinds of data cleaning, data literacy, data visualization tools that really are important for it. So, all right, good question. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, two. One for this assignment and one not for this assignment. The first for this assignment, how did you highlight all three of those suggestions for the chart at one time?
Okay, so if you're doing Windows,
mm-hmm.
You'll just, so if you're using Windows, Excel for Windows, this first column you haven't highlighted anything yet, so you can basically just start here and just drag the mouse down. So I click on month, I hold the mouse left button down, and I just highlight all of that data. Mm-hmm. To get the next one, you use the control key and do that same thing. So hold the control key, the CTRL key down on the keyboard, and then highlight and drag with the mouse. So left mouse button down, and then drag across the data. Keep the control key down, click here on the dollars per click, hold the left mouse button down, and move the left mouse button across all of your data. Now on the Mac, that's control. Now granted, it is difficult to do that when you're using a touchpad. It's much easier to do it if you have a separate mouse off the keyboard to do that kind of thing. And that just highlights the fact that, in Excel, you can highlight multiple groups of information. Does that answer?
And then once you have those highlighted, you insert the chart?
Yep, just click on insert at that point. And then you could go recommended charts, or you could choose this, which is also another good option, see all charts, right down there. And again, you're only going to get this little icon, chevron icon, if you have the complete version of Excel installed, the complete, and again, you would install Office completely. So if you click on that, You're going to get all charts, and it's going to pop up all charts. Again, Excel says, all right, this will fit on a bar chart because it's two sets of data, but this was a call out specifically on doing a combo chart and then choosing that.
Okay, I understand.
Little sophisticated, it's an advanced move, an advanced feature, but once you figure that out and see what you can do with it, if you're ever put in that position that you need to do it, you're going to be able to. So does that help?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good.
And my second question, this is technically about the other assignments.
Okay.
So I was looking at my grades. The assignment 5 and 6 and the survey, I didn't receive any points for those.
Are they still
are
they still showing as yellow exclamation points?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Yeah, that just means the TAs haven't graded them yet. I have to get with them after this. Actually, we've got to get going on grading to get stuff caught up, so that everybody can so you can get feedback prior to us breaking in a week or so. So, but yeah, we'll catch up. And again, if you follow the directions on these things and you saw what the output needs to be and you've matched it, your assignment should be fine. So plus you've got three attempts on all the assignments, which encouraged that, you know, if you didn't get it right the first time, it was a trial, you know, kind of refine the assignments so that you get it right. That's kind of what this is all about. This is more of a learning training exercise, you know, on these tools versus, you know, a strict hard and fast test on them, because I know a lot of people have not had Excel before. So this is kind of a jump into it. So,
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Not at the moment, but thank you.
Sure. Question?
When I try to select the combo chart from the recommended charts, it doesn't pop up as a combo chart. It just gives me like a line graph or a regular bar graph. How do I fix that?
Do you have a Mac or Windows?
Yes,
You have a
Windows
Mac?
and
So you don't. So when you click, do you have recommended charts?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have an all charts tab?
I just see. It's just showing me the recommended charts.
Okay, you don't have an all charts tab up here like this, how I've got these two tabs up here?
No.
Ooh, okay. And you don't have a combo?
No, it just gives me a line or like a clustered column.
Okay. In that case, do just the column chart then. And what you'll end up with is something like, which is fine, and just put a note inside the, so I'm gonna go back to my charts and I'm gonna do this. Actually, back to my charts. I'm gonna do column. Yeah, so you'll end up something like this, where it does the bar chart for the total spend and it does the dollars per click. There'll just be little markings down here because, again, the scale of the numbers is quite different. So if it turns out you don't have a combo chart option in Excel, create this bar chart with both of these variables on it. So you're going to look something like this. Then put a note, like say right next to it, and say, I don't have a combo chart in my Excel install.
I had the same problem, but I was able to figure out how to do a combo chart on the Mac.
Oh, okay. With okay. Do you want to show us how you did that?
Share my screen?
Yep.
Or
Yep. I'll make you co-host.
Okay, perfect. Hang on.
That would be cool. Because I know there was a way to do it in Mac, and it didn't seem to be that straightforward. That's why I kind of didn't want to force anybody to do it. But if you can, that'd be fantastic.
Oh yeah, I had to play around, but I figured it out.
All right, great.
Okay, so so you select the data, and then hang on. And then insert still, right? And then I right-clicked it, and then you can press change chart type, and then there's the combo. And
Oh, there you go.
But then you have
okay, yeah, that makes much more sense.
That, and then I think you have to. I forgot how to make the second axis though. If you have to add the trend line, or I don't know.
I think it might go back to data series on that one. So if you right click on that again, boy, that's interesting. What version of Mac is that?
It's a MacBook Air. I really don't know. It's my mom's.
Okay, I was going to say, in older versions, I have not seen that. That's excellent. Click select data. Yeah, click that option and let's see if you can get it there. So All
Because
right.
I
So,
got it in mine, but I just
so
don't remember how I got it.
all right. Try clicking on. So you're highlighting total spend now. Click on the dollars per click, and horizontal. Oh, there's no way to change the chart type there. Because if you could change the chart type there, you could change it from bar to line, and that would get you get names, you get values, horizontal axis. That's interesting. Yeah, there's that's really cool. If you can find that, that'd be great. I'm gonna have to go out and start investigating the different versions that are hanging out there. Oh, there you go. That's it right there. So format data series. All right, cool. There it is. Excellent. Not quite as easy as the Mac or as the Windows version, but that works. All right, cool.
It's kind of
Format data series. There we go. Good. Thank you, Eve, for that.
You're welcome.
Hey, I want to ask if there's like any more like in-depth instructions on this assignment, mainly because like I'm like when I highlight the data type, I'm not sure if I'm doing it correctly, or like I'll make a chart that looks similar to it but doesn't have everything that the chart has.
You may be able to find a video on creating a combo chart, but simply it's
Not for the combo charts. I'm talking about like basically like the other charts as well.
Okay. The strategy for all of those charts is to, I'm going to share my screen here. The strategy for all of these charts is to select your data first. So select what it is. So if you look at the homework assignment, the directions say, all right, I want you to create a chart that is total sales by genre across these categories. And again, it's interesting that you asked that question. It's actually a very good question, because this is the same thing that I tell my majors, my informatics majors that I have in some of my classes. I don't want to say don't. The way to approach these problems and the way to approach things like this is to just first figure out what it is you're being asked to do before you even try to dig into mechanically making it happen or the tool itself. Just figure out what it is you're actually trying to do. So if we take a look at this chart right here, we need a chart, a bar chart, where we're looking for data from the sales by genre. So it actually happens to be right here. Here's genre, and it's the total sales. Well, that's this column right here, total sales by genre. And then I want to know it by each of these genre types. So essentially what I want is this number for that category, this number for this category, this number for this category. And then I wanted it in this thing called a clustered bar chart. So if I just, kind of cheating because I'm clicking on the data now, but if I just take that approach, I'm going to move this out of the way. Actually, I'll do it down here. If I just say, okay, I need the total sales by genre. So I'm going to go with total sales. So I'm going to highlight the total sales. And again, if I want to select more than one column of data, I'm going to use the control key for Windows, the command key for Mac, and I'm going to come over here and say I want those total sales numbers to be allocated to these columns right here. And here I need a bar chart. So I'm going to go to Windows recommended charts, and Windows is going to come up with, well, there's 3 charts that fix this, or that could fit this. The assignment was asking for that chart right there. So there it is. So again, the strategy for doing stuff like this and the strategy for attacking anything that you're going to do either in a data assignment or an Excel assignment or informatics, whatever it is, just figure out what it is you need first and then come in and figure out how am I going to get that versus just trying to get overwhelmed by making that chart, right off the rip. Just go after the data first. Then once you identified the data, so I'm going to click OK here. So there's that chart right there. Once I go after it, so once I know what I need, I'll go after the data and I'll find it on my worksheet. And then at that point, I'll let Excel help me through figuring out which of these charts that makes the most sense. Does that help you at all? Because it's a really good question. A lot of people ask a question like that, and because to try to just jump right into it, if you don't know how to do it right away, it's best to take a very methodical approach. What do I need? Where can I get it? And then once I know what I need and identify on the data sheet where I can get it, I'm going to let Excel walk me through the rest of the way. Same thing with all of these other charts. I'm going to delete that. Total sales. Sorry?
Thank you. No, that was helpful. And I do have one more question.
Okay, so here's total sales by month. So here's my total sales. Here's my months. So now I know that I need the total sales, or I could go a couple different ways. Since the total sales go to the genre, it's probably easier by month to go, here are the total sales, and then here are my months. So I have two different columns or two different rows of data, and then just let the chart go from there. Yes, do you have another question?
Yep. The last one I have, at least for right now, is for the line chart. I tried making the picture a little bit bigger, but I'm having difficulty seeing what the dotted line is.
That's just, quite honestly and literally easily, it's just a trend line. So if you click on the data, so if you chart your data, so I'm just going to chart all of the Google prices, and then I'm going to chart all of the Amazon prices using the line chart. This is simply a trend line. So if I have my, so where's my, click on my data again, click all of my data. Is that all my data? It is. And right click, add a trend line. Simple as that. And that's because there is no line that you're going to add there. You're going to tell Google or tell Excel that I'm going to create a trend line, and Excel creates that trend line for you. So if you notice, you can't click on that trend line because that isn't raw data. That's Excel doing the data for you. All right, does that make sense?
Yep. Also, one more thing I forgot about. Where it says the dates, for whatever reason, it only shows me the 4th of each month when I made it.
This chart right here?
Yep. I got the data looking like how it should. It's just, for whatever reason, it only showed the 4th of each month.
The 4th of each month. Interesting. And your dates did not change. They say 6/4 through.
Yep, I had the whole thing.
All the data was highlighted. Okay, so is your chart expanded enough where it's showing you these dates? So did you make it wide enough?
I left it at its recommended size, like once I created it.
All right. Interesting. I'm going to undo these. Whoops. I'm going to go back to that line chart and undo these trend lines that I did. Yeah, the data's the data. Just curious. Yeah, can you share your screen? I'm curious to see that. Who was that speaking?
That was me, Mike.
Mike Huckins?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to make you co-host right now.
Okay.
And I'll let you share your screen out. I'm curious to see what that looks like.
Okay. I'm going to try doing it again.
When you click on the Zoom share, it's going to try to share every single window that you got. There we go. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know if you see it, but
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I think here's what we want to do. Don't choose, so if you cancel this and scroll down using the scroll bar, keep going. Go all the way to the end of your data. Yeah, see how your data goes beyond your data set?
Yeah.
Just try highlighting the actual date itself. So click on the date, there you go. Highlight just the dates, exactly. There you go. And then control click, yeah, it's fine. You can do both of those. Still showing, okay. click OK there, and we're going to see if we can change the formatting of this thing. Click on click on that, and then click on, click on that, and then go to your format axis pane over there on the right. Format axis. Click on what it looks like, the bars, the one that looks like bars. And click on axis options, and minimum of 6.4, maximum. Okay, change your major axis so right there. Don't change it to months. Change it to days. Or reset.
Yeah, I guess that kind of works.
Yeah. That's I don't know. That's interesting why it set that to be months. That's interesting how it took it upon itself to do that. Add trend lines. One of your trend line is supposed to be linear, and one of your trend line is supposed to be exponential. So.
And how do you do that?
Yeah, it's right on the right under format trend line, exponential or linear. Yeah. Let's see which one is which. So Google is linear, and Amazon's polynomial. Yeah.
Okay. And that would be okay, even though the numbers look
Yeah,
like that?
it's fine. Yep.
Okay.
It's fine. And literally you could make your majors day and you could make your minors week, something like that. So you could go back and reform. It's fine. It's good enough. That's really just for you get a handle on how to do a line chart with two sets of data and then put a trend line in there. That's what that's for.
Okay, thank you.
That looks good. You're welcome. Good questions. Any other questions before we talk about exam 2?
Is it okay if we didn't smooth out the line in the combo chart?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I would have preferred if you have time to go do that. It just adds a different touch to the line. But if you get the chart looking essentially like this, and your line isn't smooth, it's fine. I'm not gonna take major points off for that kind of thing. It would just be a line that looks like that. Versus it being smooth. It's very easy. If you've got the Windows version, and the Mac version should do this as well, is to just highlight the dollars per click line, come to your format series, and change that smooth. Nikita, do you see where that was done?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And do you want to go ahead and do that or no?
I submitted it already, so
it's up to you. I mean, you could just change that real quick and resubmit another one. It's totally up to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
I have a small concern.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I already asked the question first.
Okay, I just had a question on the stacked columns. If you could just go to that. So I get what you're doing here, or what we're trying to say. It's 100% of the genre, and if you look at January, we could see 55% is comedy, right? And that's easy to read. And then you're left to do the math with the rest of the genre. Is that easy for users to interpret? Could we add percentages to the individual genres?
Sure. You could put data labels on there if you want. Yeah, absolutely. We add data labels. We could turn those data labels into we could make them, where is the actually individual data labels. We could turn the data labels into, there we go. Instead of value, we could make them, whoops, I didn't want to do that. Instead of value, we could make them, where is it? We could make those percentages. Where did I lose my secondary? Just had it. Where did it go? data plot area. Okay. Yeah, you could change them to anything you want. You could change them to instead of the values, you could add data label. That's what I wanted. And then change them to percentages versus the actual values. It's up to you. The reason why we do that a lot of times is that if you look real quick at that, you can get a feel for the orange section having a trend, and that's kind of what this data was about. You can sort of see that the romance category was a small percentage of the sales, and it continued pretty much the same way. The comedy was a small, or the documentary was a small piece of it, just looking at that picture. And then you can see there was a trend at the beginning of the year in comedy, and then it dipped, and then for some reason it didn't recover. But yet the thrillers were not such a big seller at the beginning of the year, and all of a sudden they came on strong towards the end of the year. So, you know, if you take a look at those pictures, that's kind of the trend that you need to get from it. Not what the values are necessarily,
Yep.
but where's the data trending, and what piece of the data makes up the largest portion of all of those sales, and is there any visible trends? So for a data set something like this, quite honestly, in the field of informatics, you would probably have 4, 5, 6 different charts showing some different kind of thing.
Okay, got it. That
Does
makes
that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, it makes, yeah, to look at the trends
You got
more
it.
than
More
focus
than the
on
values.
the value. Yep,
You
makes
got
sense.
it.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep. And that's again, that's the visualization, the data literacy piece, and knowing that there's probably not one single visual that'll tell you everything you want to know, but a few visuals placed in the right spot to tell a picture, to tell a story about where the data is heading, gives you a quick analysis of what it is. And, you know, and if you're a manager, or if you're running a business, or you're a CFO or a C-suite, and you need to know why, then you get somebody to dig into the trends of that. Or if you're the analyst or the scientist, then you're going to dig into the trends and explain what was happening back there. So good question. Very good question.
I'm
I have a
still having
question.
trouble.
Yes, who's next?
I'm still having trouble trying to insert the combo when I highlight the month and total spend and dollars per click. It doesn't let me insert any graph. But if I only highlight the month and total spend, I can insert it, but it won't allow me to change it to a combo.
Oh, okay. Is this Mac version as well?
Yes, this is Mac.
Did you, what was it that Nikita showed us? It was format data labels, was it? Format? Did you see what she had shown us? With formatting, so you've got 2 sets of data. So you've got your month, and you've got your, go back to the meeting and share my screen. Oh, yeah, I'm still sharing it. Okay, good. So you go back to your month, and again, I don't think I can duplicate this on a Windows PC, but if you go back to highlight your month, and then you control click, I believe it was, I think, is Nikita still on?
Yeah, I think it was E who showed
Oh,
it.
it was E. Okay, yeah. Sorry, E. Are you still on?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Could you just run by real quick how you did that?
Yeah, so I selected the month total spend and then the dollars per click.
Okay.
And then insert recommended charts, and then I clicked on the clustered column.
Okay.
And then I had to right click on like the whole entire chart. And then you should be able to see something that says change chart type, and then go over and see combo.
Okay. That's the trick.
Yeah.
Yes, I did that, but it's still not allowing.
Still not working? All right. So who was that? Sorry. Who was that speaking?
Michaela.
Michaela, can you send me that Can you email me that chart? I will do it in Windows, and it should be able to translate over to Mac for you.
Okay.
And then you can at least see how it was done, and then you can submit the assignment. So email it to me. I'll do the combo chart, and the Mac should read that combo and do the right thing with it.
Okay.
All right.
I just wanted to provide some input on the Mac. Next to recommended charts are all the charts, just not in a category called all charts.
Okay.
Like next to recommended charts in like the Mac are all the charts. So you just like look through them. One is called the combo, and you can click on that one, and it shows the cluster column.
Okay. What version of Mac Excel do you have? Do you know?
I don't know what to call.
Okay. Yeah, it's very possible. See, the interesting thing about the Mac version is they've changed the UI so much over the years. Even if your Mac is like 3 years old, they've changed it so much over the last 3. It literally changes pretty drastically every year, which is kind of frustrating. So
I
is
have
that Brian
version,
Brian?
Yeah, version 10.15.7.
All right. Can you share your screen out real quick if I make you co-host so you can show that?
Sure.
All right.
I have a question afterwards.
Okay. Fortunately, as much as people don't like Windows PCs, they don't change their software.
Right here on top of where the recommended charts are, you can see these are all the charts. Just since I'm on the category, you click on the combo, it shows up here.
Ah, okay.
And so if you just highlight the columns you need.
Michaela, do you have that same toolbar ribbon on your
Yes,
PC?
I actually found it. I'm just not sure how to add the line graph to it.
Okay.
You just
Yeah,
click
so
on
you
the second one right here.
Go ahead. Run through
It
it,
should pop
Brian.
over here.
Yep. So you just make that line a secondary axis. That's the key to that.
Okay, so am I supposed to right click on the graph to add that line graph?
Or you just highlight the months and then you click command and you get the total spend and then the clicks. And then you go to insert and you go to this one, which is the combo, and you click on the middle one, which is with the secondary axis. And this time it didn't give it to me, but it did work before.
Yeah, if you highlight the entire set of data, so yeah, and then you right click, you should be able to change. Yeah, so it's gonna be change chart type, I think. You go up to change chart type. Oop.
Isn't it format data series?
Try format.
Yeah, it was the. What did I try to do right now? Just try straighten it? Or?
Yeah, I think she's trying to find this spot where you make the line the secondary.
Yeah.
In Windows, it's the chart type.
When I did it, when I did the insert, all I did was this one, which when it brings up the thing, it says with line on secondary axis.
Ah.
That's how I got it this way.
Wow.
Instead of doing it the other way.
All right. So Mac thought that out for you then. Interesting. You must have a very new version of that.
Yeah, this is the one I clicked. If the one that you guys were doing before, I think was the line one.
Yep.
Which would give it without the secondary axis.
Yep. That's very interesting that it saw the data was so different that it could make a secondary axis out of that line. That is pretty cool. I know
the version of Mac that I have didn't give me that option.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine, Michaela. Send me that, and I'll take care of it, and I'll send it back to you. And when Mac reads it, it should read the fact that thing is a secondary axis, so you should be fine.
Okay.
All right, cool. Any other questions on assignment 7? Okay.
Me.
Yes.
I think I have the same issue Michaela has. I'm at work, professor, so
okay.
I won't be able to share my screen.
That's fine.
But okay. So here, I cannot share my screen with you, but I have the same problem. I was unable to do it the same way you did it.
Okay. So you're not able to get the combo to work?
No.
You can only
I did it on my Mac last night, and then I emailed it to me so I can work on it to work today. at work today, but I'm still not able to. I cannot convert it into the combo.
No. Okay. Email it to me. I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
Because it seems as though the different versions of Mac have different ways of getting at that combo chart, which is kind of frustrating. Like I said, if I create it in the Windows version of Excel and it's a combo, Mac should read it and have no problem converting it into it. So just send it to me and I'll take a look at it.
Okay. Thank you
I'll get
so
that
much.
back to you. You're welcome.
Okay.
Any other questions on assignment 7?
Yeah. I'm having a little issue with the final part of the assignment, the pie chart. So
Okay.
I'm able to get the cost title and the titles beneath, but I'm not sure how to put the percentages in the pie chart.
Okay, that's a data labels. So, all right, so who has screen share? Who was the last to have screen share? Was it Brian? Let's see. Host disabled screen share. No, I didn't. All right, why can't I not screen share? Okay. Can you still see my Excel sheet?
No, I just see you.
You see me instead? All right. How come Zoom is not allowing me? Huh. That's bizarre. It's not allowing me to share my own screen. That shouldn't be. All right, that's what I'm going to do here.
It says you're not the host anymore.
Ah, okay. Who's the host?
Brian.
Brian, send me back the host. All right.
Oh, I thought I was just the co-host.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what I was wondering. Try it again.
I gave it back.
Okay, perfect. Got it. That's what I was wondering. Okay. All right, back to the pie chart. So you basically just click on you can click on any one of these actually, but if I click on all of the data and I right click and just take those data labels off. Delete those data labels and then come into the chart and then just click add data labels. And then it defaults to them being dollars. We can just change the format of the data labels. So we can just right click, format data label, come over here. Are you seeing my screen still?
Yeah, I see you.
Okay, and then change it from, I think I have you do it percentages, right? Not values, right?
Yeah, it's percentage.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. And then, actually, could have done them all that way. And format data label. There it goes. I wanted all of them. So format data labels, going to go from value to percentage on all of them. Does that make sense? Does that help?
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions on Excel? Okay. So that is due tonight by 11:59 p.m. for, who was it, Michaela and Cassandra. You just email me your workbooks. I'll take a look at the combo, add that secondary axis and send it back to you. We should be good. So at this point, what I'm going to do is review what's going to be on exam 2. And for that, I will stop sharing my screen so you don't see the exam and I just talk about it. Okay. So this is not a comprehensive exam. It's basically just the data literacy section, the module 2 that we talked about. There's not going to be anything on information literacy on this. That was the first part. Your home stretch now on information literacy is to put all this stuff together and write your paper. So what am I going to ask on this exam? All right, let's take a look. So if you've been doing these assignments, it should be fairly easy. And exam 2. All right. Okay. So I'll ask you a few questions on some of the Excel functions that we've used. I'll ask you a question, something like, I'll word it like, which function in Excel will add up a number, a series of numbers, and then divide them by the total number. So in other words, you're going to add up a series of cells and divide it by the number of cells, which is that? That's an average. So basically ask you things like which function would do that, the average function would do that. Some specific questions on the assignments. So one of the key functions of Excel is to be able to copy a cell value from one sheet to another. We saw that in the assignment 6 where we did the student final grades. We actually had a sheet that averaged, I think it was homework grades, and then we brought that value from the homework sheet over to the overview sheet. How did we do that? We did an equals the first cell in the range and then copied it all the way through. So there'll be a question on, you know, what does it mean when you do that? So what happens when you do an equals in the cell? Just basically copies the value of that cell into the cell that you're keying the equals into. All right. Some very generic questions about data, like for instance, quantitative data. So what is quantitative data? Quantitative data is numeric. Be some questions on cleaning data. Why would we need to clean data? What's the reason we need to do that? You know, it's a question of you need to clean data because it doesn't always come in the format that you're expecting it. And you need, for instance, to clean data if you're expecting numeric values only in certain cells, in certain columns, and you get alphas in there, like an A, B, C, D, and E. You can't add an A with a number 10 and get anything. And you can't, if you have a date field, you need number slash number slash number. Can't have alphas in there. All right. So the reasons why we clean data is because if it comes into us or the source is in a format that we can't use, we've got to fix it. I mean, that would be a reason for doing it. There was a couple of assignments, I think, where we did a feature of Excel called absolute cell reference. All right, absolute cell reference. And absolute cell reference is putting a $ in front of the row and column value of the cell. So for instance, if I wanted to use, and we did this on a couple of, I think we did it in one assignment where we referenced a lookup table. If I wanted to create a formula, and I wanted the formula to always reference the cell A1, regardless of where I copied it to, I would do something like equals $A, $1. That way, That's an absolute cell reference. So that if I copied that formula anywhere else, like we copied formulas all the way through our columns and we watched the column increase every time, or the row increase every time, because we wanted that. We wanted our rows to increase as we were copying our formula. If I did an absolute cell reference, I would tell Excel, I don't want you incrementing the row in the column. I want you to keep it exactly the way it is. That's called an absolute cell reference. And the way you do that is you put a $sign in front of the column and a $sign in front of the row. So if I wanted to use cell A1 throughout my workbook, but I didn't want it to change if I copied a formula, I would say equals $A, $1. All right, so there'll be a question on absolute cell reference. I'll ask you a couple questions from the data and design chapters 1 and 2 about the definition of data. So what is the definition of data? Well, the definition of data is raw facts and figures. It doesn't become information until we process it.
Wait, can you repeat that? You said, what was the definition that you gave for data?
Data is raw facts and figures. That is the definition of data. So if I were to tell you, so if I were to say to you, what is 40, 38, 42, 41, 39, 45, and 50? What is that? Well, who knows? I have no idea what that is. Those are just a bunch of numbers. They're raw facts and figures. But if I said that those numbers represent the low temperatures over the last 5 days, then, well, now we have information because there's some context around it. But if I just spewed those numbers out, you'd have no idea what they are. They're raw facts and figures. What could we do with those numbers? Well, we could average them. We could add them up. We could divide them. We could use them in a formula. But they're just raw facts and figures. All right, so if I were to spew out a whole bunch of other numbers and say, oh, those were the quarterly sales over the last quarter sales over the East region, that's information. All right, but just spewing out a bunch of numbers is just facts and figures. So data is raw facts and figures. And then conversely, or the corollary or the addition is taking that data and processing it. The data now, the raw facts and figures, now become information if I process it. So if I take this data and I read it in and I do an average on it, or a sum it up, and then I take the square root of the variance, or I take the variance of it, or I take the standard deviation of these numbers, well, now that's information. Or if I chart this numbers, that's information. Just the raw numbers themselves are data. When I've processed that data, that becomes information. Okay, so that's another definition right out of data and design. I'll ask you a couple of questions on VLOOKUP. So if you did the assignments on VLOOKUP, they should be very easy. Like if you want to look up a code in one table and return a description for that code that matches the code from a different table, what would you use? Use a VLOOKUP. So if you wanted to look up a code in one table in Excel and return the description for that code into another cell, you'd use a VLOOKUP for that. That's what we did.
One more time.
So if I wanted to look up a code in one table and return its value or its description back to my table. So for instance, so if you wanted to look up a code from one table in Excel and return the description from that table into your spreadsheet, you'd use a VLOOKUP. Does that make sense? Is that clear? I want to look up a value in one table and I want to return a description for it back into the table that I'm using. So I want to go to the reservation. I want to look up a reservation code or a room code in the room code table, and I want to return its price based on it being a standard or a corporate, or what was the other thing? corporate, standard, and group, maybe. All right, so if I want to look up something from one table and bring another value in from the table back, I'm going to use a VLOOKUP. So there'll be a couple of questions on that. I'll ask you questions in charting. So I'll ask you a question on pie charts. So what pie charts are good for? They're good for seeing what parts make up the whole, just like on that spreadsheet we were just looking at. So I've got a pie chart and I'm seeing what parts of that, what was the use case there? So what products made up my sales? That pie chart showed me 13% made up of housewares, 38% made up apparel, 27% made up electronics, 22% made up games. So seeing parts of a whole is what you use a pie chart for. In the assignment that we did, I think it was assignment 6, what tool did we use to count up the number of students in each college year and their average final grade? What Excel tool did we use for that? Pivot table. So we used a pivot table to count the number of students in each college year and the average of their final grade. So instead of doing all that work by hand or sorting it and then summing it, we just used a pivot chart. We just put a pivot chart on all that data. We summed up the class years, and then we took the average of their final grade using a pivot table. So very powerful tool. So there'll be some questions on the assignments that you did. If I wanted to know what the smallest value in a table is, I could use the min, M-I-N, in a pivot table. So there'll be a question on that. And this goes back probably to assignment 5, what the first assignment we did in data. And I think everybody did, and I think I asked everybody to do this, but the question is going to ask you about if I selected a bunch of cells and I highlighted a bunch of cells. So let's use the convention center example. I highlighted the room code and all of the different rates for the different kinds of rooms. And then I right-clicked and I named that. What is that called? So I highlighted all those cells, and I right-clicked and I said define name. What I did was I created a named range. That way I don't have to, in my VLOOKUP, specify all of the cells that I wanted to look up. All I do is just say, hey, what was the discounted rates was one of our named ranges. So we highlighted all of the cells in the discounted rates table. We did a right click and we did define named range. All right, so named ranges are important. Another question on data cleansing. Why do we clean our data? Again, another question on that. You know, another one of the other reasons is that we don't want errors in our data or results or errors in our analysis. So if we don't clean up our data, we could get bad analysis. Let's say, for instance, we had a number of rows of data that's bad data, and instead of cleaning it up or going back and getting the correct data, we just deleted it. So we got all this dirty data, we just delete it. Well, you're deleting the very important raw ingredients to doing any kind of analysis, and that is data. So you want to clean up the data first. Don't just delete it, because it could skew your analysis. And then a question on the substitute assignment that we did. where we substituted the, let's see, what did we do there? Oh yeah, so if we didn't have a, we didn't have a name for an email address, what did we do to the, what were we doing to that? Well, we were cleaning the data, basically. It's another cleaning question. So we had email addresses with just the @ sign with no name on the front of it. Why? Because there was dirty data in there. They didn't have a first name and a last name, so we couldn't construct an email address. So what did we do? We filtered the data to those fields, to those cells that had an @ albany.edu with no name on the front of it, because it's not a valid email address, and we just wrote in there no email address. That was data cleansing. So we did a data cleansing step there. And then there'll be a couple of, probably 2 or 3 questions where I'll show you a chart and say, what kind of chart is this? So I'll show you a bar chart and you'll say, oh, it's a bar chart. I'll show you a pie chart and you'll say it's a pie chart. Okay, pretty simple. Identify the chart. And I think that's pretty much it.
What other information did you say was going to be on the substitute assignment?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What other information did you say was going to be on the substitute assignment that we did?
There'll be a couple of questions on, so why did we do that substitute function? What was the purpose of that? Well, the names had spaces in them. So what we tried to do was clean up the data, basically. So that assignment was all about a couple of things. It was that, I think it was assignment 5. It was about cleaning of data. You first learn that if we put together a form where we gather data and we force certain inputs, we have a better chance at having clean data than if we just created a form and allowed them to enter anything into the, like their role with a student, faculty, or staff. All right, so we didn't make that a single radio button choice. We could have allowed them to put anything in there. Then we would have gotten garbage data in there. Phone number, meal choice. You know, you could have gotten, if you allowed free form typing there, you could have gotten all sorts of different submissions, so responses. So you basically forced the data to be a certain way so that it could be clean, or as clean as possible while it was being gathered. That was the purpose of the form. And then we saw, well, what happens when you don't get clean data? Well, we got that one spreadsheet where we had missing names. We had a crappy email address and @ albany.edu. We had to fix that. We fixed it by just saying no email address. And then we had names where, and that's not dirty data, it's just the way names are. There was a space in the name. Well, how do we make a valid email address out of that? We take the space out, and we did that with the substitute function. So that's pretty much that is pretty much all I'm going to ask you about those assignments. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I wanted to ask where the, I don't know if it's still posted, I thought I saw it once. Where are the instructions for the final assignment?
The project, the write-up?
Yeah.
That is a couple of places, I believe. I believe I have it on course documents. Let's take a quick look. Course documents, yes, it's on course document. It's on the course documents link, and it's final project instructions. And I believe it is also.
Yeah, I see it. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, you're welcome. And it's in, should be also in week 2. Nope. Week 3. I can't believe it's already like week 13.
Went by way too fast.
Very fast. Yeah, in one way we all want it to go by fast, right? We want to get through this whole thing in one respect, and then another, it's like, wow, the year's over. Oh, okay. So it was in week 3. I don't see it in week 3. It was supposed to be in week 3. Hold on, let me just, it's definitely in course documents, but I also know it was in, maybe it was in week 1. Oh. Uh-huh. It's not in any of those. I must have put it in, just left it in course documents. Yeah, I only wanted it in one place because just in case that document got changed, we don't want to have 2 different versions of that thing hanging around. Yeah, so course documents is the final, and it also has the rubric in it, which essentially tells you what you got to have in the paper at the end. So, you know, we've built it over 4 weeks, piece by piece by piece. We built it, and then once you had essentially your plan, which is really what those assignments were to be, is your plan, then it's just a matter of filling in the plan with some detailed writing, which hopefully you can knock that out pretty quickly. All right, any other questions?
When is the test due?
I'm sorry?
When is the test due?
I'm giving you 7 days. So it is due the 23rd of November by 11:59 p.m. Let's just make sure that I said that. Yes. 23rd, you got 7 days to work on that. 2 attempts, 20 questions, 60 minutes. Should be plenty of time. Should be plenty of time to do it. And if you've been paying attention, doing the assignments, and you know, coming to these Zoom meetings, shouldn't be too bad. And then the paper is due by the 7th of December, 11:59. So hopefully you've been keeping up with kind of jotting stuff down, and then it's just a matter of pulling it all together.
On the document, it says it's due the 5th.
Does it?
Yeah.
Which document does it say that on? The
final, like the final paper instructions.
Okay. Yeah. Let me change the document, put it back out of. Initially, it was supposed to be then, and that was before the semester got kind of squished, and I pushed it out to the 7th. So.
Got it.
Yeah. So I'll change that. I'll download the document, change it, but it is the 7th. If you take a look at the course content module 2 overview, it'll say right in there December 7th, but I'll change the document. Thank you for letting me know that. It's another reason to have it all in one place. Just so much stuff changed that was changing stuff at the last minute. Okay, good. Any other questions on the exam, or because I don't think we'll have another Zoom at this point. I wanted to have one more before the end. If anything comes up on your final as you're writing it, certainly reach out to me. I would say don't ask a question. Reach out directly, because chances are we won't get to answer that question as quickly as we need to this time of year. So if you have an urgent question on your final, reach out to me and the TAs. Can't hurt to head us all up.
What is the structure of the test? Is it all multiple choice?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All multiple choice. Again, it's all graded on Blackboard.
For the homework, there's nothing else you have to do besides the graphs, right?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. Could you repeat that?
For the homework, the only thing we have to do is the charts. There's like nothing else.
For assignment 7?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. Just the charts.